Yes, everyone, and welcome back to Food Review Club. Now, we've come to get schooled on what makes great fish and chips. We've come to KFE here in Market Deeping to their purpose-built frying school to learn about all things brilliant batter. Let's go.
Hello, my friend. Good to see you again.
How are you?
Yeah, really well.
So you're going to teach us about fish and chips?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna go right back to basics. I'm going to hold your hand, and by the end of today, you are going to be cooking some of the best fish and chips you've ever eaten.
Is it possible?
Absolutely. I've done this a lot, and Gordon's here to help me as well.
Here we go. Hi, Gordon. How's it going? All right?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Wow, this is a serious, like a Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame wall? What do you call this?
That's some of the national winners of Fish and Chip Shop of the Year that this company's produced.
That is our favourite shop.
Yeah, they use the kit.
So are these all using the KFE range?
Absolutely, and there's more. This is some of the elite that have won national titles for Fish and Chip Shop of the Year or Fish and Chip Restaurant of the Year.
Wow. What's so special about the KFE range?
Well, I'll show you on the whiteboard, but basically, before this generation of frying equipment came out, there was so much skill involved in producing good fish and chips that if a fryer took a day off, the quality went downhill. So there were never any chains.
Why is that?
It's about harnessing all of the variables to make the product consistent. If you have a burger from a chain, you know you're going to get 3 slices of pickle, the burger's always going to be cooked the same, the bun's always taste the same. With fish and chips, all of the elements, all of the ingredients are unstable. Fish is losing moisture, potato changes throughout the seasons, oil gets darker, and to harness all of that takes a tremendous amount of skill. This equipment makes that job easier.
Consistency is key as well, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean,
throughout the service.
Yeah, these guys are the elites, but there are up and coming shops all the time that are using this equipment now that allows them to produce consistently good fish and chips Monday to Friday, all, over the weekend. They're able to produce it time after time after time.
Wow. So obviously we know each other, Mark. You know what fish chips are the sort that I really like, and I think it is what I would describe as the elite fish and chips. That batter that's light in your mouth, it's crispy, it's not holding any oil, doesn't make you feel ill afterwards. It's really, really beautiful, and I think there's probably a few of these. I've been to this one as well, cod scallops.
Yeah.
They were the same.
You've been to mine.
Yeah, yours exactly the same as well.
So what I've got here is batter that I made just before you come that's starting to deconstruct. You've got a solid, a liquid and a gas. You see the bubbles at the top?
I thought that looked like a dodgy latte.
I've got a flow cup here as well.
Right.
I'm going to kick Callum out in a minute because I want to unlock all the secrets.
Right.
I'm going to show you how we make perfect batter, how these guys make perfect batter, and then you're going to go and do it on that kit.
We can't film that because you want to keep that to yourself.
There will be elements that Callum can come back in.
No way.
I'll let him in on some of it. But these people have mastered the art of fish and chips. I don't think it'd be fair if we put it all out there, would it?
Unless you come here or whatever else.
Exactly.
There
Let's do this.
You lot, I'm not going to get all the deets. Luckily for Mark, I'm wearing a wire, so I've got a buttonhole camera somewhere.
A few moments later.
Right, let's go into the training room then. Everything else we can do in there. Yeah. I think you've got the gist of it.
Then. Oh, I actually think this is going to be really, really good today because we're going to understand what makes good fish and chips and why things break down, why things are great. We're definitely with the experts today, so back to school.
Fish comes in different sizes. This is a whole fish, and that's a whole fish, and that's a whole fish, and that's a whole fish.
They're very different sizes though, aren't they?
This is 5 to 8, this is 8 to 16. There is another one called 16 to 32 which I haven't got, and this is 32 plus. Now, if you go into a shop and it looks like that, like it's got a thumb, that's a whole bit of fish, and they're buying in smaller fish, taking the bone out, and you'll be able to say, and the flakes on that are quite small. This one, when you take the bone out of it, you'd normally get a couple of bits of fish out of it. Which again, by the time it's trimmed up, obviously I'm doing it quick, it looks nice and uniform. So if that was a bit light, they might jockey a bit onto it to make it a bit thicker, so that everything's to weight, but they're actually cutting fish down. So if you get a bit of fish that's maybe a little bit more chunky, then you can say, all right, they've cut down bigger fish. That's more expensive to buy than that. 32 plus, these have got the really big flakes. So if you break open a bit of cod and you get the ghosts of steam coming out and you've got these lovely white flakes, that will come from something like this, which is a 32 plus. I'm just going to whip the bone out of that.
What's the price on a piece of fish like this? I mean, is it?
It's pricey, like so.
I've heard that.
So a case will normally come in 3 45-pound slabs, and from that you get about 90 bits of fish, and you're $250 for 90 bits of fish. And that's, you got to remember, 20% of what your fish price goes straight to the revenue. In that, you've got gas, electric, insurance, packaging, wages, so many other things to come out, and it's our job to make sure that fish and chips remains this affordable meal for everyone. And I think that's what National Fish and Chip Day promotes, the fact that although prices are going up, as an industry we work really hard to make sure that fish and chips is still great value for money, and it is. But we're not greedy. We just have to pass on some of the price increases to you, you know. But if we don't, we won't be here next year. So this one's got skin on it, which I'm going to just quickly rip the skin off, and then I'll let you have a go at cutting some fish, and then we'll go and cook.
I don't think I've ever done that before, so this will be interesting.
There you go.
So I think just to get hands on that, for me there, that looks like a perfect piece.
That's your perfect bit of fish.
Like that big, the thick flake, nice big chunks.
Yeah, I mean,
the
you
thin
can.
stuff for me, that there would be my worst. That's my worst nightmare as fish and chips.
So that's the tail. So years ago, when fish and chip shop owners were a little bit more slapdash, shall we say, they never bothered to take the bone out. They just cut it, and people would ask for the tail because there's no bone in the tail.
Yeah.
So, you know, tail and chips twice. Everybody wants a tail. We only get 2 tails on each fish because
one each side.
yeah, that's your fish there like that. So you get 2 tails. They're opposing fillets. So obviously
Unless the Norfolk fish obviously can have 3 and 4 tails, but we won't talk about that.
Out by size, definitely.
Yeah.
So obviously that's going to be a nice bit because they're big chunks, but this is going to be even more flaky.
I don't mind the tail. It's just as long as you have one half of it, it's got that bit of thickness to it. We can really get into it and enjoy it.
Well, that's going to be the bit that I cook for your lunch.
Yeah, that is the one.
Actually, Gordon's a better fryer than me, so he's going to cook your lunch.
Gordon, man like Gordon.
Right.
I feel like I need some chainmail gloves.
You're going to be fine. Take the knife. What I want you to do, and we'll do it
down and under.
Yeah. So I want you to put your fingers on this really, really tight, so it doesn't go anywhere, and then go down and then keep the knife as flat to the board as you can, and rock it. You're a natural, look. And then once you start to get it going, I want you to stop. Stop now. Yeah. Now you can get hold of it, keep your knife flat, and pull on the skin as you're doing it. And I'm just going to move back here because I know you've been lifting. You could just sever an artery. I'll tell you what, you've got a brilliant teacher.
Yeah, maybe.
Look at that. Now, we make a pair of shoes out of that.
That's beginner's luck.
That is not. That is.
That's pretty good. There's a little bit there, but we'll take it. Can I cut my perfect
Cut
piece?
your own bit.
Let's do that there, look. I think just like that there.
Yeah, if that's what you want. Right, that's what we
Like
want.
that there. Just looking at that, I can feel it in my plums.
Now in the chip shop, if we weighed that would probably be about, with chips, that's going to be about 15 quid.
Yeah.
Because that's such a heavy, thick bit of fish.
But that is the perfect piece of fish for me.
Well, we're going to cook that for your lunch. That's what you're going to eat.
I've got flake, that deep flake running all the way through the fish.
So lots of tests have been done with the public, with consumers. And consumers really can't tell the difference between frozen at sea fish and fresh fish. But there is an exception to that, and Anstruther really demonstrates that exception. So fresh fish tends to be caught by day boats that go out and come in, supposed to be every day, but sometimes they stay out longer because of commercial pressures. If they don't catch enough, they'll stay out for 2, 3, 4 days. and they'll pack the fish in ice because they can make ice on board, but they can't freeze the fish. So they pack the fish in ice to slow down its deterioration. They come in, so some of the fish might be 3 days old before they get in. It then gets shipped off to market where somebody buys it, gets put in a van, gets driven off, gets sold, and by the time it comes to a chip shop, fresh fish could already be 4 or 5 days old. And that's fairly common, and that gives us about 3 days to shift it. Frozen at sea fish, which is what this is caught, processed to this state, head, guts, everything out, cleaned, ready for prep, within 4 hours of it coming out of the water.
Oh, wow.
So when we defrost it, it really is fresher than fresh, and it's consistent all year round. So they catch when the fish isn't mating, they catch in waters that are well managed, so it's never overfished. So for our industry, it's a really good option for us because we can supply it to our customers with a clear conscience and know that it's the freshest version of our product.
The freezing of it doesn't draw any moisture out of the meat?
Not at all, not at all. Fish freezes really well, and every single layer of fish
is oily. It's got a different makeup to it.
So the way that vegetables are made, they're made of little cells, and when they freeze, they expand and burst. So some vegetables, peas and green beans and carrots are okay, but other things like peppers and onions don't freeze very well. Fish is muscular, and it freezes as well as any meat in that it will expand when it freezes, but it doesn't harm the flesh. The biggest threat to meats when they're frozen is actually drying out. Rather than the structure of the meat or the integrity of the meat.
That makes a lot of sense.
So what we do is every single layer of fish gets a plastic layer on it which preserves it, and it stops the air getting to it, and when it's frozen it can't dry out. Frozen fish is good for about 2 years in the freezer before it starts to suffer or degrade. So again, it's a really good option for us. Frozen at sea fish is usually better than fresh. The difference with people like Anstruther, and there are 1 or 2 exceptions, I know Robert and Alison really well at Anstruther. His dad was a fisherman. It flaps up to his back door. So those 4 or 5 days lost in transit, the 2 or 3 days lost at sea, there's none of that with Anstruther.
Because not knowing the industry like you do, I can only go off taste, and their fish tasted buttery. There was like a nut butter flavour to that, and it was very, very noticeable.
Yeah. So the difference between fresh and frozen at sea, most consumers can't tell, but fresh on its day beats frozen at sea. The freshest
but
fresh.
Your consistency of that can be a lot of variables.
Yeah. So what we've got here is something. I'd rather have 9 out of 10, 12 months of the year.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you're Anstruther and you can get 10 out of 10, why wouldn't you? Right, let's go cook your lunch.
All right, let's do it. Shall I bring this?
Yeah, bring it along. So over here, you can see the pan set at 185 degrees. It's got loads of timers on it, so we could pre-program it. Gordon doesn't need to because he is a master fryer. But if we come out of that, if you come over and have a look at this one's actually doing some work. You know I said about it having like a speedo, you can see how much energy it's using. It's set at 140 degrees and it's using just about 1/3 of its capacity to hold that temperature. It's dropped 8 degrees. So that cook cycle, as I said in the training room, is really, really low. There's virtually no fat absorption. These are one stage, and then we're going to put them in at a higher temperature
to crisp them up.
And that's going to drive even more oil out. So you've heard my famous saying, as crispy as a £50 note and as fluffy as a summer cloud. That's how we're going to have the chips today.
I'm still holding my meat.
You love holding meat.
I know. This is really an impressive bit of kit. Also, this is, you have this at the back of your shop, which allows more, like an open counter. This, you can see what's going on.
Creates a bit
Sometimes
of theatre.
you're hidden behind the counters and you can't really see what's going on. Open cooking, like full transparency. Gordon, as much as I like holding my meat like this in front of you all, what are you going to do with it?
You ready now?
Yeah?
You can cook it.
Oh, so that's the other one, yeah?
So I've got the other one in frying now.
Yeah, you can see the fish in the back of it.
That's where you like your batter, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice and crispy.
That's the one.
So there's a technique to that.
Is there?
There is indeed.
Tell us that.
I'm going to show you, right? So
I don't know what I'm doing in this kitchen.
what you do is just submerge your fish into the...
Well, hold on to it, just
yeah,
let
the
go.
whole thing, just let it go. Right, so it's all covered in batter. And the technique that you need to do is you need to massage the batter into that, the flesh of that fish. So you're actually going in and massaging it. Because the batter is so thin that if we just put it on straight away, into the pan straight away, it'll come off. You don't want the batter to come off.
It'll leave the fish.
Yep, so you want to massage that
It
in.
to stick.
Massage that in. And then don't swim it in, just dip a throw in so that what you get is these little peaky bits here.
Right.
So the batter's actually starting to come off again. Then you get your paddle, and you go, and you just put a little bit more batter in there.
On top of the fish.
Almost immediately.
Do you want to show us? I think they want to see brilliance, and I think we'd prefer you to it rather than me butchering it. This is the technique into getting the batter how we like it.
Yeah, I know how you like it.
But you know how I like it. But is that a popular way to do it anyway?
It's all about technique.
How do you like it? Like that or different?
I think food is very, very boring. So food can be boring, so the more interesting you can make it, the better. So if you've got soft fish inside a crispy batter,
Yeah,
you've got a bit of texture.
I love
You've got
texture,
going on
yeah.
there. You know, if you've got soft batter, you put it in your mouth, you've got soft fish, soft batter, soft chips. It's just not doing it for me. Everything's too soft. So I'm looking for a bit of peaks there. So this is why I'm trying to achieve the peaks that we've got on this one here.
That's pretty much if I was to see that, I would be excited by that. You know, like you're showing a lot of great character and you can like, sort of eat it.
Right. So what we've got here is the big one.
Are you talking about the fish or me?
The fish.
I want to say no.
The big one you had. The big one you had earlier. It's all floppy. So I'm going to let the batter just drip off just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then
You really just slung that in, Gordon.
just chucking it in. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my paddle. I'm going to make sure it's all straight. And I'm just going to add some more batter on there. Make sure it sticks.
So that's the technique there. We have a little bit more batter. Give
That's the
it a bit
technique
more
for
life.
that. But not everybody likes it that way, Mark. Not everybody likes it that
Yeah,
way.
sure.
You were talking about the smooth texture that you get on your batter. Some people like it that way.
They're the people that are not allowed near schools.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
Anyone that can enjoy that you couldn't trust them to operate a brush. No, it's just my opinion. But honestly, we've had a lot of fish chips. Now, for me now, we've had hundreds of places, and that's the one that doesn't sit right. It's green, it's full of oil. And Mark, what is that? The oil's probably cooked at low temperature. And
What will have happened is they'll have put the fish into the pan, the temperature will have dropped, it'll have absorbed oil, and they've probably taken it out before it's had time to recover, or they've not drained it properly. See, Gordon's even stood that on its side to make sure that it drains properly. There are so many hurdles where you can fall.
And you can actually see the oil underneath that one piece there. It's still coming off now. Look at that bit. Right, straight away. It's romantic, isn't it? Look at that. See that bit? Right. I love this part, looking at it. You can tell, honestly, I feel like you can tell so much by just at this point as to what the fish is going to be, how it's going to be like. And I know under here we've got those big flakes. Let's just spray this open. I've got to see these flakes. Oh, see how soft that is? Look at that, bro. Huge pieces of flake. Should have a nice crunch to it, Gordon, right? You can feed it already, can't you? You got me with this, sorry. brilliant. Tastes clean, full of flavour. This is the first portion of fish and chips we've had not in a fish and chip shop. Well,
In the meeting room.
in a meeting room. That's exceptional. You see how dry it looks?
Yeah.
All from that range, Gordon, right? And your skills. Gordon, do you think that people's styles have changed, fish and chips? How they want it these days?
Customers or operators? Operators are changing constantly. It's like any other business, Mark. They've got to evolve. Evolution. Without evolution, we've got extinction.
Yeah.
So chip shops have got to evolve. They evolved years ago when they started selling pizza, burgers, and stuff like that. Traditionally, fish and chip shops were fish and chips, pie and chips, and then they introduced chicken and chips, and then it was then you had maybe some sausage for the kids and stuff like that. But now there is so much variety on the menu that it has to be that way. Are customers' trends for customers changing? You spoke about beef dripping earlier.
Yeah.
Beef dripping is a thing that's getting alienated with government at the moment because of
Really?
the lack of health things in the beef dripping. They're blaming a lot of the obesity in the country on takeaway food, mostly beef dripping. The reality is.
Is it a lot more unhealthy?
Well, it's not. Well, it is because any solid fat is less healthy than a liquid fat.
Tastes good though, right?
Because a solid fat will retain in your body, but regardless of what kind of fat and oil you use, it's the way you look after it that's the important thing. It's the way that you look after it that's important. If you don't look after the best oil that you've ever bought in your life, it won't be good.
Mm.
If you look after the worst oil that you've ever bought in your life, it'll be good.
Yeah.
You know,
And if you're having it
a lot of operators don't know how to look after
3-5 days a week, then it'll be a problem, right? But if it's part of a Friday night treat or something, then that's okay.
Yeah, of course, right. But again, you've always got to look after the operator has always got to look after the oil, because fats and oils have got smoke points. So the closer they run to their smoke point, the worse they become.
Really?
So if you're burning oil on a constant basis and then serving food out of that, it's damaging your stomach, regardless of what oil you use. You can spend a fortune on oil, and if you don't look after it, it's no good. It's still damaging people. But so yeah, I think we've always got to be looking at new trends and keeping on top of things. We try and do that at the school as well. Get as much information as we can about what's happening in the trade, so that we can put it over to.
Yeah.
Because we started this 13 years ago. So in the last 13 years, things have changed. We've got to change with them, you know. If we don't change with them, we're teaching people what people were learning 13 years ago. We've got to keep up.
So part of your job while you're here is to help us to promote National Fish and Chip Day.
And what a day. And what a day.
It's this coming Friday. So the people that pay for us to be here would really like maybe 1 or 2 photographs of you saying, you know, because you are a big deal in fish and chips. So
Well, what everyone knows, fish and chips is without question my favourite category of food to do on the page.
yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, it's really important that that the right messages get out about fish and chips, because as a network of independent retailers, we don't have the massive marketing budgets that the multiples have. We've just got a group of...
But you have got people's hearts.
Yeah, we've got passion and we've got the product. We've got the product that others wish they sold, because fish and chips is such a trustworthy meal, and we harvest it from nature responsibly, and we always make sure that it's going to be a great value meal for generations to come. Any price increases we put on are there just to make sure that we're still here next
You've
year.
got to survive, right?
Absolutely, you know, And fish and chips still is great value for money. And I think that's the message with rising food costs. The message we want to get out this year is keep supporting your local chippy, and we'll keep supporting our local communities by giving them a great value for money meal.
Absolutely. If you guys can keep talking,
I'm
I'm still.
Nearly done.
This is so good, by the way. Honestly, this is the breakfast of champions. National Fish and Chip Day. Let's go. We should have fish and chips 3 times in one day. How about that?
That would be a way to celebrate, wouldn't it?
Extreme.
Fish cakes for lunch.
Yeah. What's for dinner?
Haddock.
No.
2 different fish. That'd be terrible.
So do you think after today you're going to be able to go into a chip shop, look through the window at what they're serving and say, I know that's been cut from a big bit of fish.
For sure.
I know how you've made that batter.
No tails around there.
Yeah, I don't want a tail. I want a shoulder. I want a neck. I want the loin.
But usually when you come to Scotland, you'll get a head and a tail because
Yeah.
we cut fish differently in Scotland.
Go on then, tell us.
Well, when Mark cuts fish down here, he's cutting them off of fish this size. We buy counts in Scotland most of the time, so it's all fresh fish, not frozen. So the boats go out, come back in. You get rounders as well, so you know as the boats go out for 6 or 7 days, they start catching fish when they're going out, but they're also catching fish when they're coming in. So that gets graded. So the first catch will be the lower grade, and the last catch on the way back in will be the higher grade. But that's a full fish. So that'll just get filleted, opened up. It's what we call an angel cut. What you've got now is a single cut. What we've got is an angel cut, so the fish gets opened up.
Butterfly.
What you would have got in Fife, for example, would have been a butterfly. A fish that's opened up. That's a full fish. Tend to be a wee bit more sweet because it's the haddock is a bit young. The smaller the fish, the younger the fish. The younger the fish, the sweeter they are. So you get a nice sweet haddock. Oh.
Maybe that's what we had.
Yeah, that's why it tasted different.
Yeah, maybe that is the way. Wow, what an amazing experience that is. Obviously, we love fish and chips, and spending some time today at KFE was great with Mark and Gordon, 2 pioneers, 2 experts, and by the sounds of it, this business here really has a community of brilliant people amongst it using the Karemco kit. So I suppose if you go into a fish and chip shop and you see them using that kit, you know they've had the right training to cook the fish and chips how we like it. That was at points like a science lesson. It was great to get some conversation about the industry, fishing, what's good about batter, what's bad, things to look out for. I absolutely loved it. And if you're watching this and want to know any more information about KFE and their frying school of excellence, hit them up. We'll put a link to their website in the comments below. I think it's kfeltd.com.
Yep.
Bosh! That's the outro done. And if you want to know what my score would be on that fish and chips, I smashed the whole f***ing thing.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. Obviously, I cut the fish myself, so that was my perfect piece of cod, literally. You normally get the chunky bit one end and it like sort of peters away, which is fine. That's what you expect when you get fish and chips. That was the whole piece. I would have given that a score today of at least a 9.5.
Wow.
Mate, that was as good as it's ever going to be.
To be fair, them chips were really crispy as well.
Like, what would you like? That is it.
Try it.
One last thing as well. It was f***ing wicked to get Mark explaining about Anstruther and stuff, and so it kind of verified they know fish and chips. I didn't tell him to say that. He knows that they're up there. So that's a bit of a tick in the box for us, bro. And they also talked about small pieces of haddock they get, which are really sweet. And I knew when I bit into it, it tasted different. It had this buttery nut sweetness to it, and that was great. It made me feel nice inside. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed today's video, a bit more informative than usual, like and subscribe. And once again, a massive shout out to KFE. We have majorly enjoyed that one. Huge thanks to Mark and Gordon as well. Top men. Thanks very much.
See it's Big Daddy B, Pugs and Matt on a mission to find who's got the fastest, freshest food in the kitchen. Different places, different flavours, try different things. Who's the ruler of ribs? Where's the winner of wings? Who's the king of kebabs? Where's the boss of the burger?